I took off for a weekend last month just to try and recall the whole year. All of the faces and all of the places, wondering where they'd all disappear. I didn't ponder the question too long. I was hungry and went out for a bite. Ran into a chum with a bottle of rum, and we wound up drinking all night. It's those changes in latitudes, changes in attitudes, nothing remains quite the same. With all of our running and all of our cunning, if we couldn't laugh, we would all go insane. Jimmy Buffett has written some really, really cool songs. Most of them are pretty easy to play, and they're all really fun to play. So this one, Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes, was the title song from his 1977 album that was really kind of his breakthrough album. And it included, of course, his even bigger hit, Margaritaville, which is almost the same song. So they have a lot in common. They're both very simple, very basic. This one does use a couple of bar chords, which Margaritaville didn't. We do need to play B minors and F sharp minors. So what we're going to do in this lesson is really just look at, this is essentially a campfire song, but we're going to look at some kind of cool things you can do with it. One is adding a little percussion to your strumming. Be talking about that, ways of muting the strings with your left hand to create the effect of a kind of a snare drum sound that we have in this folk calypso kind of strum. And one other thing that we're going to do is look at bringing in some of the things that really happened on keyboards in there. Part of that is in the intro. So in the intro I've got tab, and we have a chord chart that has the chords and the lyrics, but we have tab that has just a couple little special fills spelled out. Play that one as an intro. There's a little interlude where he uses some unusual notes. And at the very end, we'll look at one more. When he starts singing, if we could laugh, we would all go in. And there's this cool little thing at the end. So we'll throw all those little fills in there to make the song just a little bit more educational and entertaining and fun to play. So we won't have to have a lot of segments on this because it's pretty straightforward. Just throwing some easy chords in the key of D, keeping a very simple strum going, but there will be one segment where we take a look at the tablature and walk through each of the little parts in there. So let's get into Jimmy Buffett's Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes. Really simple strumming in Changes in Latitudes. All we're doing is keeping what I call the folk pattern going. Down, down, up, up, down, up. We have a few really normal things going on in Changes in Latitudes. And the first is we've just got 4 normal chords in the key of D. D, G, played with your second, third, and fourth fingers. A, played with your first 3 fingers, again in the fingering I like for A, with your first finger on the 3rd string and your 2nd and 3rd splitting it. We have a couple of bar chords coming up. We need a full barred B minor at the 2nd fret, shaped like an A minor, and following that we have F sharp minor, shaped like an E minor at the same fret. You can check my lesson, A Chord Companion, if you're not too up on those bar chords yet. Let's talk about the basic accompaniment to just strumming through the chords and singing. So I already talked a little bit about the right hand. The strumming pattern, I'm playing a D chord now. Very simple. Down, down, up, down, up. With the addition of killing the strings with your left hand on the 2nd beat and the 4th beat. Down, dead, up, dead, up. Let's break down the 3 short little instrumental things that happen in this song that take this song out of just a complete easy Campfire song into a song that is actually got some interesting things in it to make it fun to play. We open up, so taking a look at the tablature, we open up with 4 measures of chords, G, D, A, D, just played in slightly unusual places. We start with our G chord using a D shape at the 7th fret. We strum it, and then we pick out individually, down on the 7th fret of the 3rd string, up on the 7th fret of the 1st string. Really important as you hit these individual notes that the downs and the ups are done exactly as they would be if you were just strumming that. So it's down, down, up, down. Into our D shape of a chord at the 5th fret. Well, that should be enough information for you to be able to piece it all together. I know I didn't sing through the 2nd and 3rd verses, but with any song like this, you got to be listening to the original. Track down Jimmy's original recording, either on the 1977 album, Changes in Latitudes, Changes in Attitudes. One that came out a little bit later, Songs You Know by Heart, has this and Margaritaville and some of his other big hits. Come Monday, He Went to Paris, Son of a Sailor, a few others that just pop off the top of my head, Volcano, Pencil Thin Mustache. All of a sudden, all of Jimmy's great tunes are popping into my head, and those are all on that album called Songs You Know by Heart. So that's the one I'd really recommend. But you just got to practice singing along with him to get the idea of the phrasing, get the melody exactly right. And this is the kind of song where the melody, you don't even have to do it exactly the way he does. You can take a lot of freedom with a song like this. So don't worry about every little inflection. You can kind of make it your own. If you find 3 or 4 different recordings of him singing it, it's going to be a little bit different every time. It's however he felt that night, what mood he was in. He's going to change words here and there. He's basically telling you a new story every time he sings the song, and that's kind of your goal with this. Just understand the chord progression, the unusual beat thing happening with the G chord, and then really put most of your time in on playing those little fills, the intro and the solo and the outro, and then you have a great fun song. And you could play this, you could teach this to some of your really beginning guitar playing friends. You could even show them mini versions of the B minor chord and the F sharp minor chord if you want, and then there's no excuse for them not to be able to play along with you. So if you're working with some people that don't quite have bar chords down yet, you can skip those. You can play the short versions of bars, which again I think it's always worth working on getting bar chords down, because then you're a solid intermediate guitar player.